Hello everyone, my name is Himanshu Sharma, and in this video we will discuss on Spring Modulith. So let's get started. Currently I'm on the Spring Modulith documentation, and let's quickly go through the overview of Spring Modulith to get a glimpse of what the Spring Modulith is all about. So Spring Modulith is an opinionated toolkit to build domain-driven modular applications with Spring Boot. What it is saying is it gives you opinion that how your modular application in a Spring Boot should look like. So in the same way that Spring Boot has an opinion on technical arrangement of your application, Spring Modulate implement an opinion on how to structure an app functionally. So the point is, it gives you an opinion how your modular application should be structured. Okay, so that you have a consistent view of your application and your all your modules are actually following the same arrangement. All right, so when we are saying module, a module is actually an entity representing a unique functionality. So an app comprises of different functionalities. And when we are making a modular app, what we are doing is we are actually breaking our app into different modules. And then each module is actually representing a unique feature of that app. Okay. So a module generally comprises of three things here. So first thing is APIs. So there are classes, or you can say APIs, or actually these are classes which are exposed to be accessed by other modules. Okay, so a module have certain classes which can be accessed by other modules. So we can term them as APIs. Then second is internal component, or you can say internal classes which cannot be accessed by other modules. Okay, and the expectation is that these internal classes needs to be used internally only within this module. Okay, and the third thing is that a module should be capable to send and receive events so that it can communicate with other modules. So if there is a scenario where a module functionality once completed, it want to send a signal so that other module which is dependent on this one can take step or can might we can activate some, or you can say a trigger for the other module. Like it can be a logging or it can be any stuff that other module want to do based on what have been already done by the first module. So send and receive application events is like the modules are capable to send and receive events so that they can interact with each other and then they can perform their tasks depending upon what is done by the other module. Okay, so let's head into the code base. We had enough theory and we'll move on to our Spring Initializer website. We have start of spring.io and here I'm going to select Maven, change it to Java, and let's name it as Audio Demo. All right, Java 21. And in the dependencies, we will only use Modulith. Let's quickly explore how will our POM looks like. Okay, so it will give a starter core for Modulith, starter test, and a Modulith starter test. And for dependency management, a BOM. And okay, that's it. So go ahead and generate your application and open it in your favorite ID. Okay, and let's head to the IDE then. All right. So once you import it in your application, you can in your ID, you can see this is the structure you get, and there will be application properties file, simple application, the Spring Boot application class, and one test case. Okay. So this is our first step. First, let's create a test case, and you will get an idea why we did this step as first. So here, what we are going to do is uh, we are going to verify our structure basically. So let me take a step back and get back to this Modulith website again. So here you can see this is what we need. So when we are calling this test case, we are calling this piece of code. It actually checks your application to make sure that your application is actually compliant with the rules set by Modulith. So for a modular application. Okay, so we are going to use this one in our test case. So let's head over here, and first thing is application modules of, and yes, I need the entry point. The entry point is my main class, and then I will say a local variable, and then the modules dot for each. I want to print them, and let's put a boundary here, and then finally I'm going to call modules.verify. So it's the same thing. I just did not directly verify here. Instead, I just printed out all the modules which my application detect, and then it will after that it will verify. That's all. So let's run our test case and see if it works. Let's run it, and yes, it is working. So right now we don't have any module defined. All right. So what happened is by default, if I just create one package here, okay, so let's say I create a package mm, like this. Okay, so let's say I create a package module one. Okay, so you can name it anything, but the default behavior is now if I run my test again. Okay, did I miss anything? Mm, sorry, what task again? Cancel. Let's try one more time. All right, fine. So now what happened is, yeah, so let me create a few more modules here. Let me create one more, module two, and then let's say I create another package as module three, right? And then I re module two API, okay, two API, sorry, three API, right? All right, so now if I run my test case again here, so what it is giving me is it detected three modules, one, two, and three. So, and the base package is module one, module two, module three. So it automatically detects. So far, I did not specify anywhere that these are modules, right? These are just packages, okay, and then just a class file in it. And again, I specify API that I will tell you in a moment, but you can name it anything, okay? So I just created three packages and have just one class in each. And now my test case, when I'm verifying the modular structure of my application here, so what it is detecting is that from here, modulith demo application, any package which is containing any class file is treated as a module here. right? So now if I just delete this, let's say for now, let me quickly delete it and where is the delete? All right, now if I rerun it, all right. So see, even though I have a package, but since there is no class, it will not detect it, and it's just a package, empty package. So it will not bother to consider that as a module. But other two are considered as modules now, right? And then, okay, so now first let's add back the class module 3 API, right? Input. All right, fine. Okay, this is it. Now, let me put back that slide here. So first thing is API classes. So this is what I was actually explaining you. Sorry, this is what I'm going to explain now. So API classes which are exposed to be accessed by other modules, right? APIs or classes to be accessed by other modules. So the point here is, if we just get back to ID here, any class like this one, module one, module two, module three, which is inside this package directly, can be accessed by other modules. So when we are saying access, so let's say I'm on module 2, right? And I can write here module 1, module 1 API like this. Okay, if I just give a reference and I run it, it is compliant. Okay, it is compliant. I can access module 1 API from module 2 API, right? Similarly, I can access module 1 API in module 3 and module 2 in module 3 or module 3 in module 1, right? So that way. But if I create so any class, it's not specific to API. So let's say I create another class. I create some test, let's say test class, right? Even this one also I can access. So it's not dependent upon your naming convention that it has to be marked with API. It's not like that. Even this will also work, right? So it will work. So let's delete this one. Delete anyway, right? Anything. All right, fine. Let's quickly check one more time. Yeah, done. All right. So now this is the first part. So here we see this thing. Here we see this part that we see the classes which are exposed to other modules, right? Now, second thing is internal components which cannot be accessed by other modules and are expected to be used by module itself, right? So here, let's do this. So let's create some internal packages. So let's say create a internal package. And here I'm creating a internal class, let's say internal data one, right? And let's do the same thing for all the other packages. Let's create internal, then internal data 2, and then we have another as internal, and then can have uh, internal data 3, right? So now, if you try to access internal data files of any of the other module from any other module, you will not be able to do that. So right now, if I try to access internal data 1 here, okay, and run my test case again to verify the structure, it will fail. Now, this is the thing you need to note here. I did not get any compilation error, right? Because in terms of Java, it is completely fine. Internal data 1 is a public class. Okay, so there is no complaint from Java compiler. As per Java compiler, I am not doing anything wrong. But uh, in the module it is breaking the modular structure of my code. Okay, the opinion which module it is giving, right? And that is the reason we introduce our test case at the first place, to make sure that whenever we are making any changes, we are running our test case to ensure that our changes are not breaking our modular structure. So now, right now, what happened is our test case failed. And what it is saying is that module 2 depends on non-exposed type. Okay. The point is any folder, if you create any package inside module 2, they all are non-exposed by default. Okay. I name it internal, you can name it anything, but they will by default non-exposed. You cannot access them from any other API, any other module. Okay. So this is what it is complaining, that module 2 depends on non-exposed type, which is internal data 1, which is in module 1, right? So this is what it is happening here. Sorry, here. So we cannot access that from from other module, right? If you want to access it for now, you can access it from module API. Here you can access it. Here it will not give any complaint because this is part of the module 1 only. So this is completely fine. All right, so this is the thing which we see is that now module has some internal data which cannot be accessed by other modules. Now we have, let's say you want something to be exposed. I want in this module 1, I want something to be exposed to other module. I want that. So how we can do this is, let's say I want to expose some another class. So first, let's say I create a package here. Okay. And what I'm thinking is I want to expose this thing explicitly. I want them to be exposed. See, one way of creating an exposed data is you can simply go ahead and create a exposed uh, data one file right here. Okay, this will similarly as your API, but it will work. Modulus will not complain. So if you try to go over here and say expose data one, okay, modulator will not complain and it will work fine. Okay, because it treats it, this is your API area actually. You can define any classes and you can expose them directly. Okay, but you don't want to do that. Okay, and you want that, okay, I want to create a separate folder. I want to make it more structure. And I want this to be, I want all the exposed thing to be under a exposed package, right? So now if I create a exposed data, let's say exposed data one, right? And if I try to access in module 2 API, let's say here, exposed data one, right? So we will get the same error, right? Because this is not currently exposed, it is treating same as internal, right? And we get the same non-exposed type error. Now, how can you make it exposed is just go into this package, right click on it, create a package info file, and just annotate it with named interface. That's it, done. Now, if you run it, you will not get any complaint. We're marking it as named interface of this package. So any class you create inside this package now is exposed for two other modules. All right. Okay. So now, next step is like, okay, I got the internal data, which is private to my or internal to my module one and cannot be exposed. And I get the exposed data and which cannot, which is accessible to any other module. So exposed data can even be accessed by module three also. So, it's not We have not provided anywhere that it is only limited to module 2. So here also it will work. No issues. Okay, so once exposed, it is exposed for all the other modules. Okay. Now, second thing is that I want to create sub-modules. Okay. Like I can have module 1. I want module 1 to have sub-modules. Okay. So when we are saying sub-modules, so right now these are types, right? Exposed type, non-exposed type. So remember when we are getting the error, in the error it is saying that it is accessing a non-exposed type, right? But I want to create a sub-module. So how you can do that is just say sub-module. Let's say I want to create a one sub-module here. So how you're going to define a sub-module is again you create an package info and you just say application module. All right. And then this is treated as a sub-module. Now just check the logs of the previous run. Mm, sub-module. Okay. Oh, sorry, we just added it. So let's rerun our application here. And now if we check the modules list, we have module 1 and now we have submodule 1 also. All right, so now we successfully created a submodule. Similarly, you can create multiple submodules within any module. You just need to specify a package info file stating that it is an application module. All right, now we cover this part and now let's move on to the uh, third thing. So let's get back over here. So we got the internal components. We have the API classes, and now the third thing is sending and receiving application events. All right. So let's say I want to emit an event in let's say in module one. Okay, in module one API. So in the internal, let's make this internal data as a service. Let's say it's a service class, for example. And what it is doing is it want to send an event. Let's say send event, right? Like this. How we're going to send an event? There is an application event. Application event. I did something wrong. Yeah. Application event publisher. This one. All right. Um, let's bring to its magic and we say like this. And we want to publish an event here. All right. So we'll get back to this one. Let's create an event object. So, so I'm going to create an event object under the exposed one. Okay, and you will get an idea why I created under exposed because I want that object to be accessed by the other module also, which will uh, act on this event. So let's go ahead and let's create a test event, right? So let's say we created a test event and here ID and string name, right? And then, yeah, actually I mixed that, but I need a constructor here again. And then I also need toString for now. All right, fine. So what this service class is going to do is I'm saying that, okay, create an event of uh, test event, and let's say test event. To create an object and emit this. All right. And now I will go to module 3. Let's pick module 3 this time. So in module 3, I expect this one. Define it out. So there is one now. And here I'm going to need just public, sorry, process event. And here I need a test event. Uh, all right. And then I just want to print the event, right? So we say event receive like this, okay? All right. And then here we just say event listener. So this way we can interact and event receive, then it will display it over here. So we need to invoke our we need to find a way to call this first of all to call this method, right? So let's do it through API, and let's mark it as a component, and then uh, final, okay, and then click or send event. Right. Now here, just calling this send event method. That's it. And to invoke it, let's go to our application here, and let's implement command line runner, and here let's invoke the module 1 API. Um, so here I'm just doing in a very simplified way. I'm not using any kind of controllers or anything. You can explore this more, or you can implement it as per your own requirement. But this is the basic idea of how the modules interact. So they interact through events, right? One module send an event, another module is ready to listen to an event, and here, so I'm just going to invoke it. So I'll just say module one API and then just call the send event. All right. So first of all, let's check did we break anything. So let's run the test verification here. No, we did not. And now let's run our application. And yes, see, our event is received. Right. So the point is I invoke module one API, and then module one API did some invoke its internal class or the service class which sends an event. And then this event is propagated or is actually cached by internal data 3, the module 3 one, using this event listener. So that's how the modules are communicating with each other. Okay. And yeah, and okay, one more thing I want to showcase here is uh, which is this one. See, so with the verification part, what it is saying is, let's focus on this one, the third one. So this is with respect to that about module dependency. So right now, what is happening is that every module is accessible by every other module. Uh, Okay, but you can restrict that. So an application module can optionally define allowed dependencies like this. If those are configured dependencies, other application modules are rejected. Okay, so what this means is If I get back over here, and let's say I am on module 3 API. Okay. Now in module 3 API, where is that? Okay, now let's go over here only. Uh, yeah, right. Okay, so module 3 API. So let's do one thing. Let's create a package info. So jar here, and this package info jar is actually application module. So currently this is just redundant. It will not have any much impact. Oh wait, I need to stop it. I need to run the test case here. Here is the test case. All right, see, so there is no impact here. But now what is happening is if I just specify as wait, I'm doing something. Yeah, okay, sorry. It's not name, it's actually allow dependencies. So allow dependencies is it takes actually a string array. So let's say I make it like this, and I say that only I want to have access to module 2. So I'm exposing data of module 1, right? So I want to have access only to module 2. So let's say I make it module 2. And now let's rerun our test here. See, it fails. Now it is failing because now we are enforcing this module that its allowed dependencies is only module 2. It cannot access anything from module 1. And that is what it will complain now. See, module 3 depends on namely module 1 exposed via module 3 API, right? Allowed targets are only module 2. Got it. So what is happening is I'm trying to access the expose and yeah, I'm trying to access the expose part. Okay, and it is not working now because now I'm forcing in module 3 that it should be used by it can only use module 2 data, right? It's module 2 API. So even if it's not only specific to exposed, even if I try to access module 1 API. So let's say I change this to let's comment it out for now. And let's say I want module 1 API, right? This. And even if I try to rerun my test case again, it will still complain. I mean, forget about internal data or exposed data. Even the API also you cannot access now because I restricted my module to only allow module 2 interaction. So here you can see again you will get that same exception. Allowed target is module 2. Okay. And what is happening is module 3 depends on module 1. Okay. But allowed target is only module 2. So now how can I make it uh, to allow module 1 also? So one way is I can just completely remove it and by default it will start accessing all. But let's say you have a requirement, you only need to access certain modules. You don't want the complete access. Then I have to specify a module 1 here and it will still fail. Oh no, it will pass, sorry. It will pass for now. It will pass for now. Uh, okay, we are still using expose somewhere. We using exposed. Oh yeah, we are using exposed data test event here also. Okay, okay. So the point is, for now, let me comment this part for now. Okay. And now let's rerun this thing. All right. So now it passes. Right. Now it passes because in this I am accessing module 1 API. It allows me because I have allowed it here in the module 1. But now let's try to access the exposed data. Okay. And see what happens. and it fails. Now the question is why it is failing, even though we allowed module 1 and exposed is actually inside module 1, right? The issue here is when you are want to access any internal of the module 1, you have to use this convention. So the module 1 annotation, this one, only gives you access to the API area of module 1. But now you are looking for one step down. You need exposed area also. So what you have to do is you need to specify module 1 exposed. Okay, and now we can even uncomment our changes here also. All right. So now it will work. So now if I rerun it and it's successful and our application will also work. And let's run it. And yes, it is working. All right. So let's have a quick recap. Let's close all our tabs for now. So first thing we did was we created a test file where we have a verification defined to make sure that whenever we are making changes in our application, those are in line with the modulate opinion. Okay. Then we created couple of modules. We created three modules, module 1, 2, 3, and we get to know that okay, for every module, there is an area where which is actually an API area, you can say, where any class you define is exposed to all the other modules by default. All right. And then there is an internal area where, or any package you create inside the modules, those are by default non-exposed type. Okay, and in order to make them exposed, you have to define them as a named interface. All right. Once you did that, we also touch on the communication part that how, okay, even before that, we created different modules, sub-modules. So in terms of sub-modules are separated from the other packages or other types. So we have exposed type, we have non-exposed type, and then we have sub-modules. Exposed type is the one having the named interface. Non-exposed types is the one just simple packages with the classes. And then we have sub-modules which have the specification of application module in them. So then these will be treated as a module by the modulith. Now, after this, we also check on how the communication happened. And for that, we send an event from our module 1 internal data, and that event is cached by internal data 3 of module 3. And then lastly, we made one customization where we enforce in module 3 what all dependent modules can be defined in your module, so that in your module you can customize on which all modules it are allowed to be interact with. Okay, and then we also check how an exposed one needs to be actually exposed when you are enforcing this rule. By default, it will work on its own, but when you have a requirement where you only need selective modules to be interact with, then you can use this allow dependencies approach. All right, so that's all in this video. Thank you everyone. Thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions or feedback, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you and have a nice day.